You are watching Shalom World News. I'm David Kerr from Lansing in Michigan, and these are your latest news headlines from around the world. Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone of San Francisco has announced that US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi should not be admitted to Holy Communion within his diocese until she publicly repudiates her support for abortion. Archbishop Cordileone said the step was purely pastoral, not political, and came after Speaker Pelosi, who lives within the Archdiocese of San Francisco, repeatedly rebuffed his efforts to discuss her abortion advocacy. Archbishop Cordileone's instructions apply only within the San Francisco Archdiocese, with other bishops having jurisdiction over such canonical matters whenever Speaker Pelosi is in Washington, D.C. or in other dioceses around the US or abroad. In recent weeks, Speaker Pelosi, who describes herself as a devout Catholic, has been campaigning for a new law that would have enshrined abortion up to birth in US federal law. In a letter addressed to lay Catholics, Archbishop Cordileone explained that he issued his instruction in accordance with Canon 915 of the Church's Code of Canon Law, which states that those obstinately persevering in manifest grave sin are not to be admitted to Holy Communion. At present, Speaker Pelosi has not yet given any response. The Islamist terror group ISIS has murdered 20 Christians in Nigeria's Borno state. A graphic video showing the killings issued this week confirmed the murders have taken place. The video appeared on a news outlet linked to the terror outfit. It shows three groups of Christian men kneeling and then being killed by militants in masks who brandished guns and knives. Speaking in the local language of Hausa, one of the militants said that the killings were carried out to avenge the deaths of the group's leaders in the Middle East. In February, the head of the Islamic State, Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qureshi, was killed in an air raid in northwestern Syria by US Special Forces. The body of a 57-year-old Mexican priest has been found dead near the US border. Father Jose Guadalupe Rivas Saldana and another unidentified individual were found dead on May the 17th in the municipality of Tecate, east of Tijuana, after being reported missing on May the 15th. That's according to local media. There were signs Father Rivas Saldana and the other victims suffered head injuries. There are currently no arrests nor suspects wanted in connection with the killings. Father Rivas Saldana was the pastor of St. Jude Thaddeus Parish in Tecate and was an advisor to the local charismatic movement. The Pope's special envoy to Ukraine says he is pleased with the manner in which the Church is responding to the humanitarian crisis in the war-torn country. The Vatican's Secretary for Relations to States, Archbishop Paul Gallagher, made his comments during a visit to Ukraine this week. Archbishop Gallagher said that the Church is responding to the needs of all Ukrainians and not just Catholics. During his time in Ukraine, Archbishop Gallagher visited Bucha, Vorzel and Irpin, all settlements near Kiev that have suffered greatly under the occupation of Russian troops. He also held talks with his Ukrainian counterpart, Dmytro Kuleba, in the capital city of Kiev. A truly dark day for New South Wales. Those were the words of Archbishop Anthony Fisher of Sydney as the Australian state legalised euthanasia and assisted dying this week. The Voluntary Assisted Dying Bill 2021 was passed by the upper house of the New South Wales State Parliament on Thursday, May the 19th. The lethal procedure will now come into force across the state in 18 months once it is approved by the state's governor. In response, Archbishop Fisher said, quote, "If a civilization is to be judged by how it treats its weakest members, the New South Wales Parliament has failed miserably and has set a dark and dangerous path for all posterity, determining a new and disturbing definition of what it means to be human." Politicians in the state of Oklahoma have just approved what is thought to be one of the most pro-life laws in the United States. Entitled House Bill 4327, the new law prohibits abortion from fertilization. It was passed by the state legislature on Thursday. The bill also permits residents of the state to sue abortion providers who knowingly perform or induce the killing of human life in the womb. However, the law does not protect life in the womb in cases of medical emergency and pregnancies resulting from rape or incest, nor does it prevent the prescribing, administering, procuring or selling of the morning after pill, which often acts as an abortifacient. At present, the US Supreme Court is on the verge of possibly reversing the 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling that legalised abortion across the United States. The Oklahoma legislation will now go to pro-life Republican Governor Kevin Stitt for final approval. He's already pledged to sign the bill into law. Meanwhile, a US think tank is warning against plans by politicians in the state of Delaware to allow young people to undergo abortions and be prescribed puberty-blocking drugs without the consent of parents or guardians. Known as House Bill 400, the draft legislation is currently sponsored by more than a dozen Delaware State House Democrats. The bill would ensure that young people, quote, receive confidential, sensitive healthcare services without the knowledge of the insured policyholder. The pro-family think tank, the Family Principles Project, say it's the latest attempt to abolish the nuclear family and are now calling upon parents to take back control of the public school system across the United States. His saintly remains have not been exposed for nearly 40 years, but now the body of St. Isidore the Labourer are being made available for veneration by the Archdiocese of Madrid in Spain. St. Isidore is the patron of the Spanish capital. The opening of his tomb on Saturday, May the 24th, celebrates the 4th centenary of his canonisation. In the presence of clergy and hundreds of lay faithful, the casket containing the body of the 11th century saint will be opened by the Archbishop of Madrid, Carlos Osoro. Until May the 27th, pilgrims can venerate the relics of the saint from 8 in the morning till 9 at night. Then on May the 29th, after Vespers, the casket will once again be closed and sealed. St. Isidore, a peasant known for his extraordinary piety, died in 1130 and was canonised in 1622 by Pope Gregory XV. Finally, a centenarian Jesuit priest has been bestowed by the President of East Timor with the country's highest civil honour. Portuguese cleric Father João Felgueiras, who turns 101 next month, was given the Order of Timor-Leste by President Francisco Guterres on Thursday. The award recognises Father Felgueiras' 5 decades of service to Timorese society and for helping in nation building after East Timor became independent of Indonesia 20 years ago. After having arrived in East Timor in 1971, at a time when it was still a Portuguese colony, Father Felgueiras served as Vice-Chancellor of the Diocesan Seminary in the capital city of Dili. He was also a Portuguese teacher at St. Joseph's High School in Dili, with many future national leaders as students. During the Indonesian invasion of East Timor in 1975, Father Felgueiras decided not to flee and was kept under surveillance by Indonesian authorities. Congratulations and God bless you, Father Felgueiras. Well, that's your latest headlines for now. Do join us for more tomorrow. You can also join us at swnews.org for news updates. Shalom.